Hey guys. All right. And we're just getting Liv. There she is. Oh my God, you gorgeous, gorgeous girl.
Oh my
Hi.
gosh. How are you?
I am so good. I'm like, it's been one of those mornings, but like a really good morning, but then it was, now we're here.
I really like your hair curly like that.
Thank you. This is my natural. So it's still
Really?
wet. Yeah,
You're like a lioness.
I am like a lioness. I'm like, no, it's still wet. I was like, guys, like we're late totally because of me, because I was like, Liv. I was doing like other things trying to get, because I'm going to travel and trying to get the vaccination before. I don't know. We can talk all things vaccinations. Not right now, though. We've
All
got
right.
too much to talk about today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited about today's edition. So sort of promoted it like St. Patrick's Day edition, but really the only thing that's different is just that.
That I'm half Irish and it's St.
Yeah.
Patrick's Day. Who in here is Irish? Anybody
Yeah. If
that's
you're Irish, let us know.
let us know if you're Irish, and let us know if you're from Ireland.
I'm
Please
not
speak.
Irish. I know I like a lot of people say that they have like a bit of Irish in them. I've none. So, but I love Ireland. I've been there many times, spent a great deal of time there. So I love your country. So
Well, I'm
yes,
half Italian, half Irish.
that's a beautiful combination.
Well, isn't it though?
It,
Wait, what are you?
so I'm like 3/4 British, and a little
I'm
bit of
so
like
surprised.
Spanish.
The love
but
of
Spain Spanish, not so Spain Spanish, which is a bit different. But yeah, so I tan really well in the sun and also enjoy a good cup of tea.
Yeah, that's why I have freckles and also tan really. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was in the sun and I'm like laughing, and my friend's like, you are already crazy tan. And I'm like, I was in the sun for like an hour and I had like 100 SPF on, but yeah, but
No,
that and the freckles.
we have some people in here from Italy, so wrong holiday, but welcome just the same.
We
Hello,
love
everyone.
it.
There's so many people coming in. Ciao.
Hi guys. So today, Liv, do you want to share what we're talking about today?
Yes. So I had an idea, and Melissa and I sort of fleshed it out, that we would talk about how to be your own inner badass and how to unleash that, and any blockages that may be stopping you from manifesting what it is that you want in life.
Yeah, one of the things that, and it's so interesting, right? Because this is actually something that's I has been a theme in a lot of my like groups this week too. So I love how the universe always orchestrates that, because it's like it just shows, yes, please talk about this because people are needing it. So the manifestation, how many of you have wanted to, so actually let's just go into principles that we do since we keep a shorter show. So guys, if you're wanting something and not seeing it show up in your reality, that's what we want to talk about, is like unleashing your inner badass, which we're going to do, and then also how to actually bring your manifestations to fruition and really recognizing what might be getting in the way of that, and then sharing with you actual things that we do to move things along or realign or understand, okay, what could that be? So Liv, for you, where do you want to start with this?
So for me, I feel like we should start with, talking about what are the most useful tips for when you feel stuck, or when you look around and you're like, geez, I've really been grinding. I've really been trying to get what I want and nothing seems to be working. Okay,
I love it. So the number one thing that I know when, for me and one of the things that I teach is, if your current reality, if there's something that you're desiring has yet to come to you, then there's resistance. There's a lack of a belief in you having it. So, it's like when people are always talking about going, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to affirm it every day. I'm going to say it. That's great. But if if it's just words, then it's just words. It's like having a journal full of great ideas that you never actually put into action or do anything with. So then it's just a book of great ideas. So the words, you know, so much of it is about believing it. So I always say, really understanding that it's going to be the feeling, that it's going to be, that feeling is going to create the vibration and the frequency that will attract that thing in. And we can create that vibration and that frequency. So first, if you have resistance, and really look at the thing that you're wanting and go, okay, well, what blocks do I have to that? It's like the Rumi quote around love, that it's like, okay, I want love. We'll look at all the barriers that you have to it. So it's that is what I like to reverse engineer and go, okay, so if I want to be, let's just say, okay, multimillionaire, well, do I actually believe that I can have that? Or is that just something I'm saying? And is that something that I actually want? Or is it something that I think I should want?
Right.
Because other people want it. And then I go back and go, okay, is there anything in my vibration? Do I fully believe that I am worthy of that? Do I believe that I'm deserving of that? Is there anything in me that doesn't believe that that can happen? Is there any resistance that lies in me and my thinking? And then to bring it down, to get into that feeling state, because you have to believe it. And in order to believe it, you need to feel it. And in order to feel it, we want to bring it into fruition. And that really comes from the vision and seeing it. What would it feel like if you had that? And that's why you'll see so many successful people that are like, I grew up poor, but I used to go to expensive developments and I used to walk through houses, or I got a realtor and said, I want this home, when they couldn't afford it. So they could actually physically take their bodies through and feel the sensation of, what would it be like if this is my home? There's a lot, and you can even do that even if you don't want to go to that space. You can do it sensorially. You can bring yourself into, what would my senses be? Bring your senses to life by doing that. You know, I do a lot of that in my acting class. Like, it's bringing things to life through, what would it feel like? What would it smell like? What would I feel like if I had this? How would I dress? Where would I act? What would my relationships be like? How would I spend my money? What vacations would I take? And you start to create a vision around that that brings it to life, so you can actually feel it. And through the feeling state, you believe it and start to vibrate and actually can attract in more of the same. But I also want to say that if you have a big goal or dream and you don't fully believe it, I also love to advise people, you know, maybe you want to bring it down a little bit to a space where you can meet that. So maybe if multimillionaire is too much, what would work, you know, and allow yourself, like, oh, okay, maybe that's hitting you on more of a believable, and you need to build the confidence in that. And in the repetition of doing that visioning, you start to feel it more and more, and your body, your soul will love to sit in that state.
I love that, you know, and we do talk about that a lot in terms of relationship when you and I do, you know, relationship counseling. And we've had this discussion about, you know, sort of, how do you attract in your perfect mate or whatever? Well, first of all, you have to be all of the qualities that you're actually looking for, so that you're not looking for something that's missing. Yeah. So that's really critical when it comes to manifestation. You can't look for something that's missing. And the rub is that you actually can't practice an awareness of what is missing. And I know that like, for a lot of you that are watching, you're like, well, shit, that's really difficult. And it is, but that's why some people find manifestation very hard. But it's a mind game. And as soon as you can flip that switch, you are going to start seeing things manifest in a way that you probably haven't before, and that you may have been stalling out in. So for example, you know, if you are wanting a partner or money or whatever, say it's money, for example, and you go, gosh, if I only had, you know, this amount of money, let's say it's like $50,000. If I have $50,000, and you're going, but I don't, I have $300, and you want 50,000 and then 300, that's that delta that Melissa's talking about. It just seems too big. So our mind, our monkey brain kicks in, and we're like, no, that's not going to happen. That's not possible. And we introduce all of the ways in how that would have to happen, So we go, I would have to work this many hours, I would have to do this, I would have to
all the doing.
and
Yeah.
that's not the way that the universe works. So first of all, you've established that it's too big of a delta, as Melissa said. So it's too big of a jump. So maybe closing in that gap a little bit more to something that's more believable in the interim, and then you can work incrementally towards getting what it is that you want. I feel like and maybe you're not, maybe that is not the thing, because I feel like for myself and for a lot of creative people, I can think about something that's really big and I can think about it and let go of it. And then by the time it comes around, it's like, oh, of course, that would be the next logical step. But I also have a really vibrant imagination. And I know that that's a typical characteristic of really creative people. And everyone's creative. So I'm not saying that you're dull or anything of that nature, but some people are more logistical. So if you find that maybe is not your issue, then what I would invite you to do is just simply stop taking stock of the what isness and what is in front of you. So if you have a job that you hate, say you want to manifest a new job, a new relationship, whatever, say you're out there and you're dating and you're going, I really want to attract in this person, and you've gone through all the things. I've written down a list of what I want to attract. I've tried to become the qualities of what I want to attract, but you're still meeting losers. You're still meeting assholes. And it happens. Okay. It happens. I can just tell you it happens. So then what you actually need to do is look at the thing that is displeasing to you. Somebody's raising their hand. That's so great. I love it. That's displeasing to you, whether it be a job or a person or, a situation. And I want you to find 10 things that you appreciate about that thing. At the same time, really feeling, as Melissa said, the emotion of, I appreciate, the fact that even if it's somebody that's showing up in your life that's terrible, that's a terrible person that you do not want to have a relationship with, you can go, I really appreciate about that person that they are showing me exactly what I don't want. I really appreciate how flaky they are. I really appreciate how non-committal, or whatever the case may be, because you have an understanding that it's moving you towards, again, the next interval. And movement is really, that's the game. That the game is to move out of where you are energetically.
No, so there's so much. And the other thing that I just want to say, I know, we both talked about, I'm very creative as well. And my imagination can go. And I know, some will say to me, well, Melissa, I can't see things. Like, I don't see it. Does that mean it's not going to happen for me? I can't, how do I get there? And that's the thing is, there's so many things to support. So that's why I always say, and I love everything that Liv pointed out, is like, if you do struggle with the visioning and really going, okay, when was the last time, let's just say it's your weight, or the last time, or you want to get back to optimal health. When was the last time you felt super vibrant in your life? And bring yourself back to that sense memory. Bring yourself back to that, to evoke that same feeling, right? Because our bodies have that memory stored in them. So once we bring ourselves back to that, it becomes alive for us again. So that's a great way. And you don't necessarily have to see it, but we also, you hear people talk about vision boards. And, if there are images that evoke feelings in you, it doesn't mean, like, I know it's challenging when your current reality, like right now, if you're without a job and you're like, I'm driving a car that I don't want, like a house, I can't pay my bills, and I'm supposed to think I'm wealthy, right? And it's like, okay, well, what are other things that make you feel wealthy, right? Is it the love that you have in your life? Where can we go back to that space of gratitude and appreciation? And then also imagery that evokes an emotional response from you. So, if you see a sandy beach and you're like, oh my God, as long as your mind's staying positive with it and isn't like, well, that can never happen for me. We want to remove the automatic resistance. So if that's there, then you want to bring yourself down to another vision that's not going to have a negative connotation attached to it. And that's important because our minds your mind is set up for survival. So it's always going to keep you where you are. And it only knows what you've taught it. It's never, ever going to take you to a higher state of being, right? Like, so I really always say you can never outthink yourself of a negative state. You have to actually get into your body. So your higher self will come in. So go off of, well, how would it feel if I was in Hawaii, like sipping a Mai Tai? How would it feel? You know, let's take current reality out of it, because again, the mind doesn't know a difference between dream or reality. So feeding it the images that you want, feeding it the emotions, it doesn't know. So if you're sitting there and you're getting lit up like you're in love, then you'll attract in love, versus sitting there going, where do I need to find it, and getting caught up in,
Yes.
I need to effort to make that happen.
Absolutely. So it's about not taking stock of the deficit. It's about sort of distracting yourself. And if you have to look at the deficit of something, you know, whether it be money or your weight or whatever, if you have to look at current circumstances, then find things that you can appreciate about the current circumstances. And a great way to do that and sort of like soothe your energy and your mental mindset. Like, is there another type of mindset, Olivia? But
there are a lot of other mindsets. There are.
Do you ever just say things and you're like, that was very redundant? That was
I say things. I make up words. I'm always like, is that word? I just made it up. It's going to work out here.
We're going to roll with it. So to soothe yourself, is to give yourself, and it doesn't have to be bullshit. It can be things like, you know, I can never go back and unlearn what I know. I'm doing just fine. Things are working out. Things are unfolding in the timing that they're supposed to. I can't get it wrong. It's never over. Really encouraging things to sort of like soothe your energy into a positive direction. You don't have to sit there and be broke and be jobless and be like, this is the best time of my life. You can, and it would be really helpful. But I understand that we also have circumstances in human brains and all of these things that override. I mean, we've been conditioned to live with them in this state. So that's a really real thing. But don't take stock of the deficit, because that will bring you in reverse really, really quickly.
And that's like, and I love that you brought that up, and I love that you're calling it the deficit, because I think when you have to train yourself, guys. It is human nature. We have a higher threshold for pain than we do for happiness. And there's a great book called Upper Limiting by Gay Hendricks. And yes, Gay Hendricks, I believe. And it says, you know, he really talks about that once we get to a high, like a state of extreme happiness, we will create problems. Yes. We will want to sabotage. We will want to create something that isn't working. And we'll start fighting with our partner when everything's great. We'll be like, oh, you know, money's good. And then you'll just go spend recklessly. Like there's this behavior. And so we naturally can have that tendency of like, things are going bad, to just keep taking stock of what's going bad. But yes, that is when shit hits the fan, is when you actually need to go into your deepest space of gratitude and appreciation and take it back. And when I say gratitude, I'm not just saying rattle off like, I'm grateful for this sunny day. Yeah. I'm grateful because I have my health. Like, you have to feel it. You have to actually feel what that's like. You have to feel it. And it's interesting. One of my clients messaged me and she said, you know, you always talk about being grateful for your health, but it wasn't until I ended up with a possible scary diagnosis that I really got it. And I was like, I know. And I always say to people, I don't want you to have to get to that place. So we don't want to have to go to those places, but often it's that contrast that has us go, yes, I am so grateful. But the key with gratitude is feeling it. So if nothing's working out in your life, feel the love from your children, feel the love from your partner, feel the love from your family, feel the love from just source, energy, universe. This is why I love spirituality so much and that component, because we're never alone, and your prayers, your requests, your desires are always being answered. We just always want them on our timeline, or we're not actually paying attention to the signs. And we're always being given signs, but when we have, it must look this way, or we're focused on lack, we actually have a blurred lens and we can't see all the gifts that are given to us often.
Absolutely. You know, and I think that the most helpful thing that you can do, as you said, is to just sit in that place of gratitude, because gratitude is really transformational. Anger is transformational and gratitude is transformational. And so
Wait, what was the first one you said?
anger is really transformational.
I am
unpopular
Girl,
opinion.
I just fell in love with you even more. I was just talking about this.
I accept your marriage proposal. For the record, I accept.
Guys, it's happening right here.
That's it.
Right here.
Off the market. Done.
So I think we need to be clear that, yeah.
We are not together, just to be clear. But
yeah, I know. I'm like, we're not into women. But if we would be, I think we would be together.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. Absolutely. No, I love that you said this, because especially, I think actually men and women, I know with women in particular, it's like, you're sad. That's not something we do. Yeah. Crying, not something we do. Sign of weakness. Anger, like, it's such an archaic thing. And I love speaking into this. Take the floor. Anger, go.
No, just anger. I mean, I really like, but to have a creative outlet, like, we're not promoting that you do destructive things with your anger, but like, have an outlet for it. And the first step is like owning it. I will say things now, you know, at this point in my life, I can really own it and just be like, that really made me angry. But then I stop. As soon as I own it, as soon as I'm aware of it, this diffuses 99.9% of arguments. I just don't argue with people in my life, because I go, I'm angry. And then I start dissecting what it is about the situation that triggered the anger in me. And it stops me from being like, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. I'm like, why is this triggering anger in me? But I allow myself to anger. I allow myself to say bad words about it. I allow myself to, like, you know, I
love anger.
My inner brat comes out, and I have so many moments. If you had a camera where I'm like, what the bleep, 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 and I'm good, you know? But anger is really transformational. And so if you're watching this and you have to go back on your lunch break and you're like, oh, I have to go look at, you know, my employer, my coworker, my boss, and like, I have no gratitude about that person. You do. There's something there, because even you can only really dislike and really hate people that you really care about, or situation you really care about, right? So
I was giving you tips.
Absolutely.
No, it's so, and that's another thing. I just want to go back to signs. Guys, we're all connected. So if you start to go, why is this person in front of me? If you start saying, if I'm all connected and all of my desires are on their way to me, then there's a purpose for why this person is in my path. You don't need to be best friends with everybody. You don't need to, but you can say, what is the lesson in this for me? Higher self, like what is that for me? You know, when you're hearing other people gossiping, you're able to drop into their conversation, because there are words or a lesson. If you're hearing a lot of honking, if you're hearing ambulances, if you're notice what you notice. Not everybody is noticing the animals you're noticing, or the butterflies, or the birds, or not everybody is hearing the lyrics you're hearing. Not everybody is getting the social media posts and feed and things popping up for you on YouTube, on Instagram. If you are guided to hear something, ask yourself, was this a message that relates to things that I've been asking for guidance and support on? Because we are always being guided, whether you're being brought to a teacher, a mentor, a book, a lesson, or for something where you're just like, yes, that's right. But people that cross your path, you just want to go, okay, somehow my soul chose this office, these coworkers. There is something here for me. It doesn't mean you need to stay. It doesn't mean you need to love all the things, but just go in and just go, okay, I'm in a space of self-discovery. What's here for me? What's taking me higher? What do I need to know? And sometimes it's just like, honestly, you're done. Like, you did your thing. There's not much more here. But I just love everything about today's episode. And I love looking into our emotions, because anger, sadness, like any of these things, I think it's all just parts of ourselves, emotions. And I think there's answers. I think there's guidance. I think there's richness. I think it's beautiful. And I think we need to love all those facets.
Well, I think that's really it, right? It's so like, don't take, it's the same as, you know, manifestation. You can have an emotion, and your emotions are your biggest indicator, as well as what shows up, and where your manifestation sort of, you know, what you're sending out, what you're communicating to the universe is what's showing up, but also how you're feeling. So it's you can feel anger and you can feel these emotions. It doesn't mean that you are, you know, subjected to always be in that and own that. And you're like, I'm having an angry day. You can have an angry 5 seconds and like be done with it. But if you try to skip that step, you are sublimating things that are indicators about information that you need to know. Even things like anxiety. I always tell my patients, anxiety is just an invitation for more information. It's an invitation that says, what do I need to uncover about this? What do I need to know? So dig deep, you know, unpack
we should
it.
do a whole one on anxiety, because between the two of us and the work that we do and helping people with that, because I think that that's something, would you guys like that?
Yeah. What if we do
DM us
that
and
next
let us
week?
know.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. But I love that you said anxiety is an indicator. It's about not shoving these down or being afraid of them. You know, I think that's the same thing. A lot of people that have had anxiety, they're like, I just want it to go away. It's crippling. But when you start to befriend it and go, what answers do you have for me? What, like, let me, and also just going, you have no power over me. You're not my truth. Yeah. You know, like, that's the thing, guys. We don't need to make anything an identity. Like, actually saying, you know, I'm an anxious person, like, let's just take that off the table. We no longer want to identify with certain labels that make us feel less than or broken. Instead, we just want to go, right? What?
Yeah, no, 1000%. Right before you said that, I was about to say, we can stop identifying as broken. We can stop identifying as shitty childhood. We can stop identifying as divorce, whatever. Like, you can just be here now and start from here. And it doesn't mean all that stuff didn't happen, and you'll deal with that. And that can be however gradual or expedited of a process that you want, but you can stop that identity right now, here, today, in this moment. Just take a deep breath, breathe it out, and decide. It's literally just that simple. Decide you are not.
Everything is indecision. I cut you off.
No, you didn't.
No, I feel like we could sit on here for 10 more hours and keep going in, because right now I'm like, let's talk about the power of deciding. It's all in deciding, but I think ending on not taking things on as an identity is the best way to really end this live, because I think that that's something that so many do. And I'd love to encourage everybody to look back at how many stories you have about yourself that you've made. Oh, I'm just not good at sports, or I'm not a good dancer, or I'm not good with makeup, or I don't have a good style, or I'm not good with money, or I'm me in relationships. Like, how many labels have you put on yourself that are actually limiting your joy and your allowance for what you can have, because you're limitless and you can have all of that. So let's just be done. Like Liv said, just release the labels. Just, you're starting from anew. Who do you want to be right now? What do you want to have? And decide it's going to be yours. That no equivocation. That's the other piece that I would say that's so strong with decision, is no equivocation, not the but or the maybe or the I kind of want this and that, but just like, no, I can have it all, so I don't need to settle.
Yes. Thank you. We no longer settle for things that make us feel like shit.
Nope. Done.
Those days are past.
They're done.
I love it. I love you. This is amazing. Thank you all so much for coming in. See, again, you're from all over the world. This just like makes my heart so happy. We love doing this with you guys. Please share this with your family, with your friends, even with the people that you don't like, because this is going to help them too, which is going to help your life as well. So
and
share, spread, follow Melissa and I. We are going to be posting more throughout the week on these discussions, and then ramping up for another episode next Wednesday.
Yes, and we can't wait. And guys, if you want, DM us. Are you a yes to doing next week on anxiety?
Yes.
Or power of deciding?
Yeah,
let us know, either anxiety or the power of deciding. We'll put that in our questions. We can take a poll too on our IG stories. And then the other thing, guys, we are, anybody here on Clubhouse? Because on Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we are going to be on Clubhouse doing another Cosmic Tea And we are going to be talking about unleashing your inner badass, taking this to step 2. So come and meet Liv and I there. Join our room. It's going to be epic, as it always is. And we would love to see your beautiful faces. So if you need any details about Clubhouse, again, DM us and we will be on that, and we hope to see you there. And we definitely see you next Wednesday. Thank you all so much for being here.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, honey.
Bye.